Hi folks, John Cordisco back again. The last round, round 9, the Qatar Masters 2015. This is a key game between Yang Yi from China and Wesley So, originally from the Philippines, now playing for the United States as black. It's a really long game, so I picked it up on move 29, knight c2. Now right now you can't see the computer, it's on off screen, but this is a really wild position. White is up 2 pawns, and both kings are in somewhat safety, but queen to c3 is the computer suggested move. But white decided it was going to go for it and play queen e7. Now, the reason why he did that, I think, because of the fact Yang Yi has to win this game. He has to win this game in order to have a chance at tying for first and getting a tiebreak in a playoff game. They have a playoff game here instead of just plain old tiebreaks. So he goes for it. Now, if he had gone queen to e3, queen takes, bishop blocks, f6. It's still an even game, but it's a lot more fun this way. Queen e7, knight takes check, king f2, queen checks, king goes to f1, knight goes to c2, queen takes check, king h8, queen takes h5. Now, right now, those of you keeping score, white has 4 pawns for the knight, and they're all good pawns too. They're all connected. They're 2 pawn islands, but at least they're connected. King to g8, queen goes back, king to h8, queen to h5. I think they were trying to get some time to the 40th move around move 36, so they're not going to repeat. And then it goes king to g2. Now, as y'all can see, pawn can't take because the queen mates. So that pawn is protected indirectly. Knight checks. Give you an idea if knight had taken. Rook d7, knight d5, rook d4, knight e3 check. White is way ahead. King hides. Queen checks. Queen takes, rook takes, and the game's over. So that's why the knight didn't take on b4. King goes to h3. King decides to move. Queen checks, king g8, rook e7. Small advantage for white. Can Yang Yi hold this out against Wesley? Rook f8. a5. Might as well get those pawns marching. Pawn takes, knight d5. He's trying to get the knight back, I think, for a little protection on his king. Guard some squares around his king. It sounds great to have 4 pawns against the knight, but try to convert it with all these pieces on the board. Queen e5. He does trade. I'm really surprised. Of course, he almost has to because he's going to lose the knight when the rook comes over. So rook takes, knight to b4. Now, it's a little simpler. Not simpler, but it's simpler to figure out your plan. How is black going to hold on to this? Rook e4. They'll move around for a while. I'll go through a few moves. Rook c5. Trying to get that pawn down. Now, of course, you see the trap here. Knight checks. Discovery on the rook. He moves the rook. King up. a6. Pawn starting to creep. Knight to e3. Pawn checks. Or excuse me, pawn hits the rook. Rook a5. He has to go there. Rook c7. Now, these little subtleties in chess. King to f6, computer considers a blunder. King to g6 was the computer's choice. And after a7, knight d5. I don't see the difference, to be honest with you. Maybe some of you can stop it here and make some comments in the comment section. But he does go king to f6. Now, at this point, I want to mention, I'm not going to show the game. Give you a little background on this round here. Kramnik is also playing Magnus Carlsen. And what they did was they moved the time for this round 3 hours ahead of all the other days. And my understanding is that Kramnik especially and Carlsen especially are not morning people at all. They're not used to it. They're used to playing these tournaments where your rounds at 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This is much earlier. I believe it was in the morning. So Magnus and now Kramnik had to win in order to get tied for first place, but he ended up drawing with Magnus. And Yang Yi knows this because they played a couple of hours prior to this and drew. So Yang Yi has known the whole time he must win in order to tie for first. Give you an idea of his mental state at the time. Rook c6, king moves, king g3, g5, just probably to keep the king from coming up. Not that it matters. h4, g takes, king takes, knight d5. It's over a 3-point advantage now for white. Can that knight temporarily hold off all those pawns with his king on that side of the board? Can they do it? We'll have to see. e4, here they come. Knight e7. Rook goes to b6. Got to be careful with all these knight moves and your pawns and rook. Knight checks. King goes to g3 just to get behind the pawns. Rook a3, temporarily blocking the movement of the f-pawn. g5, making a spot for his king. Knight e5. Rook checks. King e7. King g2. Excellent move there. Not up, back. Knight d3. Rook h6. He's keeping the king from crossing. King can go this way, but he can't cross this line here. I think f4 might have been a little bit better. Then after knight, f5, knight takes, rook e6 check, king f8. That's a little more manageable. But he decided to go rook to h6 instead. Then after rook to a5, a7. Beautiful move there. Beautiful move. We all see why the rook cannot take. If rook takes, rook checks. It's an old trick, picking up the rook for free. So he takes the g-pawn with check. King goes to f1. Rook goes. Now you're going to freeze him in the corner. King to e2. King to e5. The computer didn't like that move very much. He liked knight to c5. Excuse me, knight to c5 instead. f4, knight d7. Now the rook has to go in the corner. King goes to e3. Knight to c5. Just brings him all the way back. Knight to b7, double question mark, or single question mark, excuse me. But that's the best move on the board. When the best move on the board is a terrible move, you know it's lost. Pawn. Rook can't move, so you got to move the knight. Rook a6, king d7, trying to get the king over desperately. Give you an idea, knight to e6 really doesn't do much, because after f5, the knight has to come back. Rook goes to a5. And it's even worse. The pawns are getting farther down the board. King d7, f5, knight c6, e6 check. King can't come up. It's got to come over. f6. Here come the pawns. Looking at a 6th rank. Knight b4. Desperately trying to do something here. King to b7 might have been an idea that after rook to a1, king comes over, but it's still lost. After knight to b4, pawn. Beautiful, though. If the knight takes the rook, you just go e7. So he goes king to b7 instead, and then he went rook to d6. And that's where Wesley So gave up on move 77. Give you an idea of roughly what they were looking at. After the rook moves e7, check. I'm going to check around for a while just to be annoying. A queen with check, king takes, then the queen, the other pawn would check, king moves, and here's what happens. It's mate. Pretty slick. 2 queens and a rook. Anyway, folks, so Yang Yi wins and ties for first place with Magnus Carlsen. I'm not sure whether to show the tie-break games or not. Just in case I do, I don't want to give away what happens. Anyway, well, let's see if what the tie-break games hold coming up soon, I hope. And that was a hell of a game. Hell of a game. When you have to win, Yang Yi did what he had to do. He was exhausted. Absolutely exhausted. And now he's got to play a tie-break game with Magnus Carlsen. And the tie-break game, I believe, is 5 minutes plus 3 seconds for the first 2 games. And then 2 5-minute plus 3 games after that. And if that is, then the 5th game is Armageddon. So Magnus is probably hanging around the sauna for a couple hours, had a nice meal, took a nap. All this time poor Yang Yi is burning up his brain cells. So we'll see what happens with Yang Yi and Magnus in the tiebreak. And as I always say at the end of all my videos, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.